Okay. Let's see. Hello. Yeah, this is working now to YouTube. Okay, hello. Okay, this is also working now to kick. Hello. Yeah, this also works. Cool. So, all right. So, a little bit of context for today. Today, we are going to be looking into the RBAC um, mechanism, or you can say method of authorization. It's basically a role-based access control. So last time, uh, also before I begin, like start explaining things, few more caveats. One is my laptop is kind of like bad. So if it starts doing some sort of like shrieking voice, sound, you can say, I'll stop the stream and just we will continue later. And second is that this stream will be about the basics of role-based access control, not how to implement it, like how other libraries actually implement, right? So I'll explain the conceptual level, and then we will simply go and do it on a very basic level on the previous app that we built. But that's about it. So just to follow through, last time we checked about the this entire thing, authentication and basically authorization part, and then we actually went ahead and completed our application. But then I got the comment from one of the users, if I can look into that. So let's see. Okay, here in the live, if I'm correct, there was one here. So yes, one of the comments was were from only JavaScript channel or user who said, can I do or cover the RBAC? So I'll cover the RBAC part. I don't know what this is. Let me just check. Might be some sort of like a AC. Let's see. Okay, attribute level. I'm pretty sure I have done it. Let's see. Flexibility is there. Performance and auditability can be problematic. Simplicity, role explosion, fixed access rights. Yeah. GAC, high level granularity, or okay. Fair enough. I think I have used most of them, but I'll focus on the RBAC part today. Okay, let me see one thing if I'm correct. So role-based access control is what we are going to do today. An attribute is user, a person, job title, blah blah blah. Someone logs into your computer system. When that person, what can that person do? ABAC protocol answer that question by the user or the environment, where the person is accessing the file, the time of the day, or the calendar date could be all determined. Access the type of file, who made. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is a time constraint. Okay, this is basically I think how the those pods are set up when your DevOps team actually set those things up. So it's a time-based constraints, and everything is actually locked in there and things like that. Okay. Well-defined control administrators can define enhanced and manage many variables, ensuring a high-level control. Okay, it's kind of like, so there's roles and then there is attribute level. Okay, we'll cover the RBAC first, and I'll do the basics part here. Just if you want to know where we left off previously, you can look into that previous stream, which was this. Here we covered two things. One, we covered this auth, and authorization part, where I explain what are the differences between the JWT tokens and sessions, then what the session flow is, what is the JWT token flow. We then went ahead and implemented a very basic JWT token here, and then we utilized that and even went ahead to in our dashboard, we also created search, paginations, bunch of forms, and used suspense, things like that, right? So we kind of like completed the entire project in a nutshell. But today I'll just go ahead and show you where it is left first. Okay, so if I try to go to dashboard, I am here because I will be logged in based on, okay, one thing is it should be no throttle. I will be logged in based on my application cookie, refresh, and this refresh token. So last time I did the stream, so this refresh token will expire around 14th because it was created last time for this particular local host. So if I go to my JWT thing, I'll see that this is the expiry date, which is now it is 18th. Previously it was 14 because last stream happened around when? 4 days back, right? So it was 7 days. So 4 days back it was 11, 10, 9, 8, somewhere around, let's say 7 or something. So 7 plus 7, somewhere around 14th, right? Now today it is again, refreshed because we just tried to go in and this particular code ran, which is in our middleware. We set this up. Sorry, we set this up, the entire thing, and we checked whether I'm trying to visit the protected route or not. If I am trying to visit the protected route and I am not, verified, I check my refresh token. We create a new access refresh token and access token. We set those up, and therefore now we updated our login, and therefore I'm able to log in there. Cool. So that's the entire flow. It's working just fine. All right. So let's start with today's RBAC in theory first. Okay. RBAC, role-based access. Okay. Role-based access control. Okay. Also, if you see any, if you hear any background noise, let it be. I don't think it will be audible that much, but yeah. No. Okay. So now I will first remove this and do it like so. Okay. So what this is, we'll first see that in theory, and then I'll explain everything in theory using some sort of like a diagram, and then we will simply implement it. Okay. So the basics of the theory is very simple. You see, in most of the application that you actually make, or like you see in the internet or web, it's basically has a bunch of user roles. So when I say role-based access control, that is basically expanding this JWT token, because end of the day, JWT token, that authorization is nothing but access level, right? That's what we learned when we were doing the authorization part right here. Okay, in one of the previous videos. So authorization is access level. Now all I'm saying is I will only allow the access to a particular based on the role of that particular user. Cool. So that means in our system, this only comes into effect when in our system we have multiple roles, and that means that is usually most of the web apps that you see, because at least at the very minimum there are two definite roles in these two categories. One, it will be our customer role, or it can be your user role, right? And another one is going to be your admin role, right? So these two roles are anyways always be there. And then you can also have, like say manager, you can have subscriber, you can have God knows what, right, etc. So these are, let's say, your roles in the system that you have defined. At the bare minimum, you will always have these two roles. So we will focus on these two roles only. So now in our to-do app, right? So imagine this is our to-do app and this is user-facing app, right? So this is a dashboard for a particular user who has signed in and he is able to do all these things. Fair enough. Now, if there should be a way that, I mean, this is a UI which is user facing, but this, there can a separate UI which is only this in the same domain. There can be a separate UI, let's say around admin, right, which will be admin facing. So that's now two different roles. We don't have it yet, but that's like two different roles. So let's deduct this. Let's say this is our user, and this user comes to this particular page, like so. Maybe I should do it like this. Yeah. And this user here. Okay. And this user actually comes to our web page and tries to log in. Okay. Now, once this user logs in, he is allowed to access a bunch of pages, right? That will be our home page. That will be our dashboard page. Now, because these two pages are public, I mean, this page, this home page is public. This is private based on user ID, right? Private, basically a user ID should be present. And then let's say there is an admin dashboard as well. Okay. And this is also private based on user ID. All right. So how will we go about and, differentiate this user, whether this user is actually an admin, or is it just our customer? Because if this user is our customer, we cannot allow him to access the admin dashboard at all. And if this user is our admin, then only we will allow him to access this. Okay. So that's one determination that we need to actually have here. And this access then becomes basically a role-based access control, right? If I am allowing you to access based on your role, as in whether you're a customer or an admin, certain routes or certain capabilities, then that makes it a system which is called a RBAC, role-based access control system. That's it. There's nothing too much about it. It's as simple as that. And then all the other things are basically saying how to implement it. And then you have different libraries available in the market that do this differently. So Auth0 does it, Clerk does it. Then you have open source libraries as well. So all of them have this feature, right? Today, I'm just going to show you how to actually do it in very simple by extending our previous app, so that in conceptual level, you are clear as to what is happening. And then you can choose whatever third-party tools are available, or you can just, roll out your own for your app based on how high, like how big of an application that is. Okay, let me just eat or take my medicine and I'll just continue then. Open it. Yeah, cool. Let's see whether this is working or not. Hello. Yeah, it's okay. So I can close this. Cool. All right. So apart from that, this is as simple as that, which I mentioned. But what you can also have is some sort of like a capabilities, right? Uh, Attributed to each different user roles. So for example, our customers, let's say, can access their dashboard, right? That's one read. You can say that's one thing that they can do. Then can read their added anime characters. Then they can say edit their added anime characters, right? Then can delete, let's say that all as well, their added anime characters, right? Can search for their added anime characters. Okay, so that's what our customer can do, because if you check here, I can search for, say, Goku, right? That's what I can do. Then I can create one. So let's create new anime character, new one. Okay, let's do this. Saitama, One Punch Man. Okay, I can just create this, and here he is, right? So I can create, I can search, and by that definition, even though it's not implemented in our app, which I'm not going to implement, it's just a basic, POC type of, just for learning purpose. But let's say these are the things that a customer can do. Then what about admin? So our admin can do all of the things that our customers can do. That's one. But then additionally, can create, let's say, they can also delete users, right? Can edit users info if they provide explicit permission, say on mail or email, right? Then can log in as a user, right? So let's say these are the things which admin can do as well. So now what we have is, so these are the two roles with different capabilities, but then we have in a way the permissions. So let's call them permissions. Based on this requirement, we will have our own set of permissions. So one is going to be, let's say, dashboard access. Then let's say we can have a read anime characters. Then we will have edit anime characters. Then we can have delete anime characters. Then we can have search anime characters. Then we can have delete users. Then we can have edit users. Then we can have login as user, right? So, and this is basically saying, say, login as well, right? So let's say these are our so-called permissions that we want in our system, and these permissions is assigned to both. These permissions are only assigned to admin, and based on that we can actually implement things, right? Or during our code we can have a bunch of checks. So that's what this is going to be. Okay. Okay, so now that we are clear about what this is, like in terms of customers and permissions, so I'll just show you the, let me think. Okay. Okay, I think this is enough in terms of explanation, in terms of theory, just a revision. So role-based access control is nothing but a way to allow the logged in user have granular controls on different routes or services of your application based on their roles. And each role has a bunch of requirement or capabilities, and depending on what they are allowed or what permission they have, which is attached to their roles, we allow a certain actions for them to implement. So even if a user is logged in but they don't have the permission to access the admin dashboard, right, then they are not going to be allowed the access to admin dashboard. So that's what I missed. So admin dashboard access. All right, so that's what this entire thing is. Okay, so now I will go to Vercel, go here, go to, let's say, firewall, enable will require user to pass mode window. Okay, right now not required. So let's go to storage. I'll just connect it. uh, okay, not this. If I'm correct, I should be going to project. Yeah, then I'll go to Superbase instead. There I have this cards. Yep, this is my card and this is my user. All right, so let's continue what we were doing last time. So I hope the theory part is clear. Now, in terms of, this is all in terms of very basics, what the theory is. This is for the understanding purpose. And now I can just try to implement it. But before we implement one thing, I'll want to show you something, right? Let's say I have a new incognito window. There, I will go to my local host itself. And here I will try to access the dashboard. I will not be allowed. I will be saying, I will be redirected to have a auth sign up, right? What I'll do is I'll register here and I'll enter my name, say something. Let's say it's test at the rate email example.com. It's not like it's going anywhere. Let's also have that as a password. No, let's have whatever the password it says it has. Cool. Okay, I think we had a password somewhere in the form. Yeah, let's do with this password and sign up. Here we are, right? Now check what happened. I am a different user, yet I am able to see what the other user has created. The reason being that this particular data is available for all, because this data is not linked to any user, even though we have two users now, right? Or we have like three of them now. So to, not only is this not role based access, it's kind of like public. Now this depends on your so-called design decisions in terms of what is your system design requirement, or what is your requirement of the app, whether you want to make it public or not. So last time we wanted to make it public. Now let's say I want to have it in a way that each of them can only be accessed by the user who created it. So that's what I'm going to do. I will use this GUI graphical user interface of the Superbase to create another column, and let's say that column is user underscore ID, right? 1 minute. Okay, so now if I go back here, okay, okay, hello, sorry, somebody was speaking. Cool. So my brother was speaking. So now here it will be, say I want a UUID, and there should be a foreign relationship with this user, and this should be user ID, year ID, and that's about it. So action if reference row is updated, which action is more appropriate? Updating a record from public user will raise an error if there are records existing in this table. Let's say it's cascade. It's moved. So deleting a record from public user. Okay. If anything updates there, I don't want any action. If I remove that, so public user, if I remove the user, I want it to be removed as well, right? So this is basic database. If you don't understand, you can try to learn from some of the YouTube videos because it's basic database knowledge. So now I am just going to save it, and then I am not going to allow it as nullable. It has to, it is not unique because a bunch of thing can be the same user ID, and this is fine. Let's say save. Okay, no, default value should be generate random UUID. Now let's save. Oh, sorry. This should be auth UUID because we have this. So hopefully this should work. Fail to create column user ID of relation cards exist. Okay, cancel, discard. Let's refresh. Okay, now it's here. Oh crap, it generated a bunch of user ID for no reason. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just copy, say, code dusting 1, copy it, copy cell content, go here, edit, UUID should be this, save. Right, let's say edit. There must have been a better way in this UI, but it didn't make it much clear. So let's say these two are mine, right? And then in the user, I'll take this part, copy cell content. I'll go and make these two cell content, this as well, make this as different users, right? Now, if I go back to my dashboard, I will see all of them here. Nothing changes here, right? Same happens with my anonymous user as well. Nothing changes here. Okay, now what I'll do is in my application, we had a bunch of things and there was a dashboard. There we had a page, and that page was getting the query, getting the current page, and getting the total page. And it was passing those in the user tables card and the total pages, right? So first, let's go inside the total page. Here we are getting the client, and then we are trying to get every single number of counts where the query is like this or like this, right? Okay, what we have to also add here now is and user ID equals some user ID. Let's say it's user ID. Okay, now if I go to my sessions, here in my verify session, I am providing the access token like so, right? So if I go to my helper, I can have an access token. This is not role-based access. I'm just typing up certain, the previous thing. I'm just first having a, what you can say, login based data first, so that we can have role based later. Maybe it's not required, but I just want to do it. So this is going to be my verify session. There I will receive the access token, and this access token, let's also search for, see here I have something called verify, like so. So now what I'll do is I will try to get this done from here. This will be inside my try only, because it can fail. So I will try to first verify this token using this library, which also runs on the edge. That's why we didn't use JSON web token. We went ahead and used Jose from here. And then in this access token, we will pass it like so. We have our secret from constant. We will make sure that this right here is available. So we will only run this if there's no access token. We will be throwing an error, and that error will be cached right here. So we will say no user ID provided, right? Bad error, you can say, but that's what it is. If this doesn't exist, then you are not logged in. Now here, what I'll have is in this token, I will have, if I go, let's see, yeah, here I will get user underscore ID, and that user underscore ID will be supplied here, and this can be unknown. So here we'll also have if not user underscore ID. Let's just copy this again for now, and finally we will have this, and let's also say it's a string, because we know it's a string. So in this small application, we can just assume things just for the sake of concept. Of course, in production, you will have better TypeScript and things like that. Okay, now we know that whatever is coming here in terms of count, it will be based on my user ID. So if I just go here, okay. Okay, helper is running. All right, helper is running outside, so it's not able to have this verify session because, cool. So we'll do this. We'll just copy paste this like so. I think this will also fail because the cookie header is the issue. Yeah, that is the issue. Okay. So we need a way to have this particular access token in our local storage. Otherwise, we will not have. Oh no, we can have it right here. So this is my server component, so I can have it right here. That's one. Let's just get it from here, and here I will also pass the access token like this. Then rather than doing it from here, I will do it from here, which is going to be string, or it can be undefined. Okay, and then we are checking the access token here itself. It should be able to do all this now, and that's it. Okay, yeah, Cool. So at least this is coming from 51. So it will be this one. So let's say what this actually give me first, because I'm trying to decode it. Yeah, one more thing. Of course, this will not have anything. That's I remember, because if I go to my session and if I go to my create session, what I will see is that I am providing the access token and refresh token for sure. So now let's see what happens when I go to my actions. Last time we went to auth actions. There I am creating the access token based on this payload only. What I need here is from this, when I'm trying to sign up, right, I will need, apart from this only, I will need an ID as well of the user. Okay. So that is something. So here I'm connecting. Here I will get some data. So it will be DB data. This DB data will give me, say, some data for here. So let's see DB data. And this is going to be, if I'm correct, right here, like so. This is my user. So I'm just copy pasting things which we did last time, right? And we will just let this user be like so. So now I'm trying to insert a user. I should be receiving a data, and I should also be, you know, getting something from here. So I will also just console db data like so, just to check what it is. And based on that, whatever the result I will get, that is something that I will do here. The issue is this refresh token is coming from only this, right? So I'm trying to insert it. So I cannot insert it like so. It should be undefined. I'll tell you why. It can be, you know, undefined or null. There has to be a way to send a null value. Let's see, null. Yeah, we will say it as null first, so that whatever the result we get from here, that will have our ID. Let's call it like this, user. This will have our ID. This will have our name. This will have our email. Okay, and then we will do this. So I'm just, you know, replacing the order here. Of course, we have to check it out, but I'm just explaining the theory part of it. Okay. So cool. All right. So now this null. The first thing that I should do is go and check my DB, because it will give an error whether I can have the refresh token as null or not. So one thing is here, let's check the column, edit table. Here I have this. Is it null? Yeah, null is allowed. So that's fine. Now, technically, if null is allowed, then I will also have to finally update it. So I will have to call another, you know, query. Okay, so this is going to be another query, which will be update query. And let's see, if I'm updating, it will be update table name. So it will be users, what I'm trying to update, which is set, then column name, which is refresh token, equals refresh token, where ID equals, it will be whatever the ID I'm getting from above, like this, right? That's what I'm doing. Okay, why it is giving me error? Yeah, okay. Yeah, make it any. Let's say let's call it as unknown. A little TypeScript trick as unknown, and then you can have it as okay. I have some issues here. Unknown instead. We can just remove this. This is okay. This is my name. This is my email. Yeah, so I cannot have two of them, obviously. So let's call it user name. Let's call it user email, right? Okay, username, user email, and then it's here, and then something should happen here. Okay, so let me just tell you what I did. If it's confusing till this point, one is the issue with the previous implementation was that I, as any user, can have access to any other user's created cards. I want to first restrict it based on their user ID, right? If you are logged in, you should only be seeing your own card. So for that, I created in the cards table a new user ID. Okay, then from the users table, I picked two IDs, one for the previous, which I am logged in here, and one which I am logged in the incognito, and I assign these IDs to them. When I delete the user ID, the cards will be deleted along with that. That's a rule that I have set up in the database, right? Now, once this is set up, I have to then have the access to this particular ID in my access token, okay, and my refresh token as well, let's say. So of course you can have a separate set of secure ID and whatever, but in concept this is how you will do it. So I will need to have some sort of like an access to that. So I will go and start changing my things. Right now the implementation was that when I log in or when I sign up, I will validate the thing, I will come to this part, and then I will hash the password, and at that point I was trying to create access token based on the incoming email and name and the refresh token. And then I was just simply implementing or inserting that refresh token which I created into my table during the insert itself. Now because I need the newly created user's ID, I will get it as a DB data, and I will not insert the refresh token here because that refresh token has to contain the ID as well now. So then I will try to console log this because we want to check it, what it is. And then I will extract the data out ID, which is user ID, name, username, and email. So ID, let's call it as user ID. And here I will provide that user ID as well. Okay, then based on this, I will create a new access token based on this information. And same, I will create a new refresh token, right? Now I will create the access token and the refresh token based on 3 values now. Okay. And then I will update my users table for that particular refresh token where the ID is user ID, because we only want to update the current so-called data or sign up users ID only. Then we will release it. So that's the entire plan. Hopefully this will work just fine. And if I go here, so it says no user ID provided. Yes. So to fix this, because we have updated our table, updated our logic and things like that, so we will go back. We will not say, sign up and things like that. We will just go to our home page. We will go to our login, and let's go. Okay, one more thing, otherwise it will not work, is that this is in the sign up action. So we will also have to do the same in sign in action. So in the sign in action, we get the email and password from our validated data, fair enough. Then we are trying to, pick out our so-called DB data, where we are going to get the latest user information. We are verifying it, and then from there we are creating this thing. Here we will also have our ID, which will be, let's say, is it ID or is it user ID? So we have user ID, username, and user email. So that's what I will do. Okay, we should do it like this. It should be ID, it should be name, so that nothing else break, because the names that we used elsewhere are only email and name and things like that. And I'll just copy paste this during the sign up. Same here. I will say ID equals user dot ID, right? Because now we also need to have ID. This should now have ID as well, string. Okay, so user ID, then there will be name, then there will be email. Same here. I'll just copy this here. So now we are also storing the ID during the access token, and this is good to go, right? And we are doing the same thing, update set user where email ID is this. Fair enough, that's fine. So at this point we can also have, okay, now it should work. So we will go back, we'll go to login, we will try to log in using my email, sign in. Let's see, go here, inspect in my application. Okay, in my application I have this access token. Let's see, here I will go to my JWT thing, just copy paste it. Now we also have our ID, right? This is what we wanted. Cool. So let's fix this thing. I think I logged in console differently. Fair enough. So let's fix this thing. Now if I go to my dashboard page, I am getting the access token from here. I am passing it here. Now here I'm trying to get the ID from this decoded payload, but if you remember, it's just ID because we just made it ID, and here it will be ID. Now this should fix the issue for this particular page. Okay, that's fixed. So that's one. We'll see what this is all about like this, but this should be enough for now, like this particular page, right? So what we are saying is I won't have the count or this and this. Okay, so like where user ID is this and this or this. Okay, so I am pretty sure if, let me just copy this thing from here, we will go back to our GPT, chat GPT, because we want to know the order of it. Okay, let's see, this is SQL query. It's been say let's make some story. It's been a long time since I used the combination of and or. Can you fix it? I want and clause to take precedence can you fix it? Okay, let's see what it says. Is there any issue here or not? See, yeah, so we only needed a bracket. So let's just go here. It will be a bracket from here till here, and then let's go back. Now you can see that yes, at least the page number is working fine, because we only have two values associated with our ID. I mean this code testing ID, right? So let's copy this thing. Let's copy the content, go back to our so-called card, and you will find that we have it with Kit, Goku, and Super Saiyan, right? So if I just go back here, let's go back to this. Let's also remove this, edit it. Let's make this the same. Save and edit it. Make it the same as well. Now, the moment we went with 3 to 4, if I just refresh this thing, it should be 2 pages. Okay, that's what we are seeing. So at least our page is working fine, and now it is user based. Let's also fix the other code as well, where we are getting this search thing, and then we will do relog in and test whether this is working fine or not. Cool. So for the next page, this is our total page. For the next page, we have to go and pass our so-called access token. Right, let's pass it from here because we are anyways taking care from here in our user table. Okay, and here we will have our access token. We will also have our access token. Okay, and we will pass our access token here. Then we will go here and we will get our access token as a string here. Copy. Makes sense? Hopefully it does. Now this can be undefined as well. So this can be undefined and this can be undefined, right? Now everything should work. At this point, again, we will have the same issue, which is access token check. So we will just do this. Inside the try, we will add it like this. Now we have the access token just fine. Now we will decode it and have it like this. Okay, and since we have it like this, let's just copy this entire thing. We can actually extract it out and just return that access token, but let it be for now, right? And we are throwing it, which will be cast here. Okay, so here we can now edit it with the message or, right? And just to get over with this error, I will typecast it as any. For some reason, disable this. Okay, right? So I'm just disabling it. It can be this message or it can be this message. Fair enough. Now here, again, the same thing, where name, like, and we will have a bracket, like, we'll close the bracket and we will say, and user underscore ID equals whatever the ID is, which is this ID, right? And we will make it as a string because we know it's going to be a string for now. Once we do this, we can go back, refresh. Now we have the user based data. Make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so let's just come back, log out, go here. We will say let's log into code testing test one. We have no data. Fair enough, we have no data. Let's go back here. Let's just refresh, and I have to log in again. So let's go log in. Of course, one thing that is missing is that if I'm already logged in, I shouldn't be allowed in the login page, but that's something that you can do. Let's go with this. Now my access token is updated. I have this. All right, cool. Now what I'll check is in the dashboard itself, here in the user cards form, I am calling the new cards function. Here in the new cards function, I'm trying to enter the values here. But if you check, I don't have the value for user ID. Right now, for this simple application, we will have a user ID field as well, which is like so. And since it's also inside the use server, so we will be able to call the access token here. So what I'll do is, after this, I will have await verify session like so. this will give me the access token, which I will decode using that JWT thing, which is inside this helper function. So let's copy this, get here, and that access token I'll decode inside. And before I decode it, I will also have to throw the error. If we don't get it, then it's not allowed. And at the top, I'll just import that Jose again from Jose. Makes sense? Then I'm here, I will import the secret and import the algorithm, which is our constant in case you missed the last stream. Now we have this. Finally, we will just supply our ID. So while we are, and this will be as, let's say, string. Okay, so while we are entering or creating a new one, I'm also making sure that the ID is associated with it. Okay, that's it. So if I go back to my anonymous, now if I write, say here, new character, God knows what is another anime character? Yeah, let's go with this. Okay, anime is Naruto. Here it is. Let's add another one. Same. Okay, let's add another one, which is here. Okay, now we have 3 of them. Now if I go back to this account here, if I just simply refresh, what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll select all of them. I'll remove these 4 for the first one, and I'll remove where it is. Refresh. Okay, these I'll select first everything. I'll remove these 3 from here, right, which belongs to my new user, and I'll remove these 4 from above, and I'll just simply delete all of them. Okay, cool. Now these 4 are associated with my old user, and if I try to just simply refresh, go here, I won't get it. Okay, but if I try to refresh, search for Sasuke right here, again nothing here, right, because it does not exist here. Because if you check our search form, what it is trying to do is simply replace the query above, which is passing it to our user table as a query, and there we have the check involved. Fair enough. Cool. So this is very simple. We just implemented some sort of semblance that, okay, this is the user and this list is now user based. Okay, let's assume there can be a case that somebody can, by definition, get my ID. Then it's a done and dusted case. So let's say I can copy this, I can go here, right, and somehow from this front end I try to change certain access token in order to get another person's data. So what I can do is, first of all, I can go to my application, go here. I will not have anything in my local storage, so I will go to my cookie storage. This is just basic security. I'll go here, I'll see, okay, there's a access token and there's a HTTP. Okay, so I won't be able to access it. So let's just copy it. Okay, let's say this is, I'm just trying to make you understand how it actually happens. Let's say I copy it, I'll come here, right, and here I get, okay, this is my user. How about I have another user's ID? I'll just replace it with here, and then this is my new access token. How about I go here, change it like so. Now this is a new one, and shouldn't I be able to access the other person's data, because now it's based on the user ID. So let's check this out. and it failed. Why it failed? Well, because if you check, everything is failed. Everything is failing. The reason why it's failing is because error signature verification failed, right? This is a database level error. Therefore, everything is failing. Why? Because even though I changed my access token with my new data, because somehow I got the new user's ID. Okay, somehow I got the new user's ID. Still, that secret that we are using in order to sign and verify is safe with us. Now, of course, if that secret is leaked, then we are toast. So for example, if I go back to my env, if I get the secret, okay, I go here. Okay, okay, everything is working fine or not. Let's see. Hello. Yeah. So now if that secret is with me as well, then what I can do is I can supply the secret. Now if I have this, I go back, go to my application. Here I'll change it. I will refresh it. Now I'm toast, right? So that's the entire thing. As long as you have the secret or the private key with you, the data is safe. The moment that is leaked, then it's kind of like over. So you can't do anything about it. So I hope that is clear, like what is the so-called access token and secret. Because I remember last time I missed this part. So that's why I had to make sure that this time, at least this is a continuation of that auth and this is like clear, right? What is the part of the secret? How, even though you can change things in the browser, because nothing in browser is secure, everything is visible. I can just change things. Maybe in the future, if it's possible that nobody can even change things from here, then that's good. But right now they can, right? So the only thing that protects us from us is basically our JWT secret key. One thing that I also missed last time, or you can say completely forgot last time, is this thing called, I was trying to create token, right? And that token was created using OpenSSL, things like that. What we can have is this thing called npx auth secret. Just run this npx space auth secret, right? And this will give you much better, I think, like some sort of like a secret. It's basically a secret for JWT. Okay, now it says it has created an auth secret in the local environment file. So now if I go here, there's a local and this is my secret, right? And if you check this thing and this length, if I just do secret again, it's the same. So what we created using OpenSSL is the same what this particular package is creating, right? So it's up to you. You can use this or you can use that. All right. So this is a milestone one, which was kind of like a previous, you can say backlog that I had to complete in this tutorial. Now we can move ahead with the role-based access implementation, which we looked into Accelerator. Okay. Both of these users are our customers. Okay. I mean, ARERs or ROUR customers. Okay. Are our customers. Okay. So they are both users. So the moment you log in, you are logged in as a user role. Now, if I have to incorporate this user role, right, I need to make sure that somehow the front end and the back end can understand, or basically the front end can understand, because that's where the role access, route level access is there, who this particular user is, right? So till this point, everything that you have learned in this particular video itself, right? The way we modified the secret, the way we modified our access token, the way we modified our refresh token. What do you think should we do in order to pass the role from the database and the backend to the front end, where we should store that role, so to speak? Yes, it's going to be again in the access token and refresh token. Okay. So also we don't have to store things in refresh token if you don't want, but in access token. So we have two roles, right? So here's the flow now. Let's go back to our flow. Here, the JWT token flow is like this. A user will log in, and this time the only thing that will change is now we will have two different login. One will be user login, UI, then there will be admin login UI, because we need to know somehow in the backend that whoever is logging in is which role, right? That's why you will see some sort of a form in multiple of the places in the internet or web that you will find that there's a separate admin. If you have used WordPress or saw WordPress site, there's a separate /WP admin. And if you have used any of the web app, you can try, there's some sort of like a admin dashboard which you don't know about but the other person, the company knows about. It can be on a different domain itself, that's another thing. But you can also have, let's say, after subscription you have upgraded role. After subscription, let's say you went from free customer to paid customer, that's also the change in the role. So in that scenario your UI will be same but something in the role will change. But what we are trying to implement here, we will have to have two different UI, one for the admin, one for the user. Now also one more thing, what you should have on the front end is depends on the requirement of the product or the project that you are in. So each project will have different solutions, and this is just one solution that, okay, for the sake of simplicity, let's have two different UI where it will be the same form but something else will be going in. Okay, cool. So let's go here and we will have another protected route that will be my admin. Let's put it here. Okay, forgot it. God, my attention span is so low. Okay, here the user comes and tries to log in with username and password. One solution is two different UI. Another solution is a checkbox which says I'm an admin. Okay, when you check that box, the action that will be performed might be different. Some sort of like different action is happening on the backend, and we will fail if that user is not available there. For the sake of simplicity here, I will be having different UI itself. Okay, that's one. Now, once I try to log in, everything happens. Access token is created and the entire flow works as itself. The only thing that happens here is this part. So this part gets extended. Okay, this part, let's say here, we'll make it like so, right? This part extends and it will be like this. We will create a role variable, right? We will create a role value in our DB. Create a role column in our DB. Create a role values for that column. And okay, create insert the role into the access token and refresh token. Okay, that's it. So we will basically have to create a new DB column. So let's go here. Let's say here we will have to create a new DB column that will be a role ID. Okay, but we also now need to create a new table for role, because we don't want, I mean, you can do it, but it's better to have a new role where it is predefined and only the ID is, linked in a relational foreign key relationship things. Okay, so let's have a new table that will be basically our roles, and here it will be not, I won't have it, yeah, confirm for now. Then it will be an ID, it will be this, let's add a column, it will be our name, right? This will be text, and that's about it. And this cannot be null. Okay, that's fine. Let's have save. all this backend task is done by the backend team. You can create a script, seed it, things like that, have a Prisma database setup. I'm not going into all of that. Just focusing on the front end part, like concept part. So now we will create two roles. One, let's insert a row, and this row will be automatic. It will be, let's say, customer, or customer. And we will have another one, which will be admin. Make sense? Let's also, like edit the row. It will be, I think I messed up this thing. So let's go here, edit the table. This will be UUID, like so. And this is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Now, if I just edit it, yeah, this is fine. Okay, so let's just delete these two rows. Go here, edit the table, make sure this is UUID, this is fine. Generate random, this is fine. Refresh. Yeah. Something is missing in this Supabase. Anyways, so now I will have, just refresh this. I think something is like completely wrong here. No, I want to first edit the column, make this as UUID. There's no ID there, right? Why it is not allowing that happen? What about this? It's possible to do it here, but it's not possible to do it here for some reason. Okay, let's go to my seed. What did I do here? I have this. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. So let's try again. Anyways, let's forget it. Whatever it is, just make sure that in theory you should have, like for production, just have it, like for some reason this is not allowing us to do it, but in production always have UUID, and preferably if you can have UUID version 7, not UUID version 4, because like the numbers, UUID version 7 is serializable, which means that it is better for indexing and searching, whereas like UUID version 4, it's actually quite random. So it's also security plus serializable and speed performance, right? So that's why you should have UUID version 7. Okay, so hopefully there's no lag issue. Okay, I am to hello. Yeah, there's no lag issue. Okay, so now that I have these roles, I will go here. Customer is 3 and admin is 4. What I'll do is I'll also delete this chirpy one. Let's just wait. No, not this. Let's delete this thing, the new one which I created. Okay, now we have this, right? Cool. Now let's create another column. Let's call it role ID. Let it be int8. Default value should be, let's call it nothing. Add a foreign key relationship, make it as role, and this should be, role ID should be public user role ID. Make it to roles, it should be ID. No action when, so deleting a record from public roles will raise an error if there are record existing in this table. Yeah, that's it. Let's go with this only, not this. Yeah, let's allow nullable for now. And I'll make sure that this is a customer. Yeah. And this is also a customer. Okay. Right now we are customers. Fair enough. Now we can also have something called permissions. Remember we had permissions there. Of course, you don't have to, but I'm just showing you how you have permissions. Let's say that only. And here in the column, first I will have, let's say UUID, and that should do something about there. Permission will be of, let's say, name. Put it here. It will be of text, and that should be it. Also, it should have, yeah, this should be enough. Let's see. Fair enough, we have it. Now we will create a bunch of permissions. Let's say our permission is dashboard access. Okay, let's go and create these. Dashboard access. That's one. Let's have another one, which is admin dashboard access. Right, that's two. And I think this should be enough for this particular purpose. So now in the roles itself, we can also have like another table, for better normalization, where we are saying, okay, this particular role and is having these many permissions and things like that. Or we can have a table, like some sort of like a JSON data here. So let's have another table. Let's call it like roles. So roles can have multiple permissions, so it should be permissions. Let's remove this for now. All of these are security, so make sure you do it. It will be UUID. Let's call it role ID. It will be UUID. No, it will be, okay, that is not fair enough. Let's add another column, and that will be my permission ID. That will be my, again, UUID. And now we will have foreign key relationship. So select a role, select a table to reference to. So I will reference this table first to roles, where I will have my role ID to this ID. And this is fine. And then I will have another key, which is going to be permissions. Here I will have permission ID, which is going to be ID. And this is fine for now. Then I'll just simply save. Okay, this can be basically nothing. Let's not have anything here. Let's save it. Cool. So now we have this as well, right? Now let's see. I want to insert a row, the role ID. Let's select a record. It should be customer, and the permission ID should be dashboard access. That's one. Let's have another one, which is admin can do dashboard admin access as well, but it can also do admin can do dashboard access as well, right? So now we know that admin can do two permissions, has two permission ID assigned to it, whereas the customer only can access the dashboard. So based on my role, right, based on my role, whether it's a customer or admin, I have different permissions now. Make sense? So based on my role, I have different permissions now. Now somehow I have to pass this permission to the front end people so that they can utilize this permission while allowing access to the UI element of the front end, based on the roles that they will be receiving now. Okay, so now we have two different things to do. First, okay, this is what we have to do now. To make, let's put it this way, to make this possible, we now need to modify our code such that frontend receives the role of the logged in user when they sign up or log in. That's one. FE receives, or frontend receives, the permissions attached to that role along with it. Make sense? So that's all it is. So that's the part which the backend now has to take care of. Okay, let's go and try to do it. We know that if I have to give these permissions, the best place is access token. So of course we can have another access mechanism, but this is what we are now going to do. So when I am logging in, when I am trying to sign up or sign in, I will now have new, let's say here at this part, right? Now I have to change my query somewhat. So let's see what we have done. If I go to my users, here I have the role, right? And from the role ID, I will have the role permissions, right? And from this, I will have the role names. So now we have like 4 different tables and we have to get the data from each of them. Okay. So if you are a new person, you can utilize the, chat GPT for it. And that's what we are going to do because I don't want to waste time writing the join tables. Basically, it's a joined thing. In case you don't know what the SQL for join is, you can utilize Prisma, ORM or something like that. Okay. So what do we need here? Well, first, we know that this is fine. Okay, let's utilize this ChatGPT and let's see whether it is able to do things or not. Okay, so also just see that you can utilize ChatGPT as well. So I'm just also making sure you understand how to use the ChatGPT as well in case you don't, if you feel intimidated by it. Okay, you just have to supply a perfect scenario and it will give you the answer. That's what it is. Okay. I have 4 tables. Okay, let's define the tables. There's a users table, there's a roles table, and there's a permissions table, then there's a roles permissions table. Make sense? Okay. The users table has role underscore ID. Okay. Info. The user table has your roles underscore ID, which is linked to ID column of roles. The roles table, let's go and check. The roles table contain the name column, which is a role name. Okay. Then the roles permissions table contain the role ID and permission ID, telling the relationship between the roles and permissions, where role ID is pointing to, which is foreign key, pointing to roles table ID, and permission ID is pointing to permissions table ID column. Okay, that's one. Cool. So we have defined everything, right? And we also have to define the permission table has name of column in it. Now what I want to know, right? Result needed. Query, SQL query optimized to get the role name and permissions assigned to each role. Okay, that's what we want. Let's see what it can do. So now it will generate the entire thing. So here it is. To efficiently retrieve role name, right, and the corresponding permission assigned to a table, right, we can use join operation and group concatenate and things like that. So now it is saying from our name, right, and string agg, it is doing as permission something, right? So basically it is whatever the obfuscation of this results in, that is assigned the name this, right? So this name contain the value of this operation. From roles, left join this, right join and left join this, group by name. Now let's also say modify it to give me the user ID, username, user email as well. Let's see. And user password as well, right? User password as well. Okay. So now it will do the join operation in 3 of them. So now this is user, this is our role, and this is our permission. Now from here, left things and that. So let's just copy this entire thing. Okay. Username, right, is our ID. This is this, group by this, right? So let's do this. Let's paste it like so. Hope this is not, there's no issue here. Okay, so that's what we did. We pasted it like this. Let's also say modify it to check that the user email should be incoming email value, right? So now it will try to do some sort of like a where clause as well. And after the join, we will have this. So after the join is complete, let's have a where email is email. Okay, so that's what we are now doing. We are saying, okay, provide me everything that you see here from here, right? And here what we can do is we can remove this user, this email, and this email, this user, right? Because we are trying to get it like so. Makes sense? This is a signature. We are trying to access it like this only in the user thing. And then we will have the role name. So let's also make it role name, because this is our JavaScript and we are doing it from, camel case only. Each, let's say, role. Okay. So now we also need to have this here as well. So we don't need the password, but we need the role name. Let's call it as user dot where it is, we have to have here. Okay, so it will be role name, it will be string. Let's also have permissions, this whole thing, that will also be string. Okay, now we will have it as role name, and this will be user dot. So now we will have access token like this. Let's also just copy the same thing, paste it here, and this will be my refresh token. Of course, we don't need to paste this in a refresh token because technically speaking, refresh token only needs ID and email and it will be available. So we can just remove this. Access token is where we will be requiring the role name and the permissions for our purpose. Okay. So now that we are clear on this, let's do the same to above. So let's copy this whole thing. Go. This is what this was, sign in action. So we will do the same in sign up action as well. Here we are inserting everything. We can just remove this. Then we need a bunch of other things. So now that we have our user like so, right? Let's await client SQL, paste it like so. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Why was this so well formatted? Okay. So we will do the same thing here as well. Remove this. Okay. So this is well formatted thing. All right. This is my DB. Now from what we need here, let's call it DB2. So what we need here is rather than the email, right? Because see, right now we are trying to insert here something. Okay. And that insertion it's a sign up action. So in the sign up action itself, we are saying fair enough, also look for role ID, right? And make sure that the role ID is that of our customer ID. Now we know that here it is 3, but how will you ensure that that's the default customer ID that we are actually having? So technically what happens is this particular code remains with your backend team, or if you are a backend like in the Next.js, then you are in control of that entire scenario, right? So I don't want to go into nitty-gritty details, but basically you have control as to what is the default value that you should be passing here. So that default value can come from constant. So let's, or enums. I don't like to use enums in TypeScript, so I'll just call it constant, right? So let's say role, and this will be your admin. Let's call it 4, right? And this will be your customer. Let's call it 3. Then we will simply have right here role dot customer. Okay, but I'm trying to use it right here. Why it is not possible to do that? So there's a sign up action. Let's copy it here. What I want to do is use role. Okay, let's use it here. Default role, it's going to be role dot customer, and this will be my default role. Insert into, oh, right, what I'm even doing. So it will be inside this. Okay, and then it can also be this only. There's no need to, pass that. Fair enough. Okay, so now I know what is the default role. Therefore, when I will try to get this back, I will have the role name as well now, and I will have the permissions as well, right? Because I mean, this is just inserting things, and based on this role ID, we are also taking a bunch of things out. So technically speaking, from this particular thing, right, we might only need the email, not even these things. Okay, no, this is just inserting. Okay, so here we will just supply user.email, whatever the insertion is. Now get me the new data, and from there I will have const user, let's say user2, make it like this, make it rows, and this will be of column 0. Here I will have 2, right? And then if I check, there's an ID, there's a name, fair enough, there's an email. Password we don't require because we are trying to just select it. Same here, we don't require the password from here, so let's just remove the password part. Okay, now here they required it, fair enough, but above we don't require the password, so we can just remove it. Now then we can have email and the role name, let's call it role name, then also this permissions like so. Okay, and then here we can just paste the role name and permission like so. Same here, role name and permission like so. We are just making sure that whatever our data is, it's here. So in refresh token we don't need it. Same here, if I am here, so this is what my entire thing is all about, right? It's the same thing. So now in our access token we have the role and the permission attached to it. So let's see how it actually looks, just to figure it out. So now what I need to do is go to my dashboard. I will clear my cookie. I will try to refresh, go back to my login and sign in. Let's see. This works. Now let's check the access token. If I go here and simply paste it, okay. Did it not work? Let's check. Okay, it did not work. Cannot read property of refresh token. This is 72. Okay, this is 72. Where's that 72 coming from? Decoded token. This is middleware. Okay, in my middleware there is no 72 either. Let's see where it is. Refresh access token. Okay, this is in the session itself. So let's go to session. We have the refresh token. Here we are passing the refresh token in the middleware. Let's go here. We are getting the refresh token. We're passing it here from users. Okay, let's check. This is my user. There is a refresh token just fine. So I am going here, getting my this email and name, new access token. Okay, so now here also we will have to do the same thing. Fair enough. So in this session itself, in the action, let's see, let's copy this whole thing, right? Go to our session. We are getting the so-called data from this refresh token. We are trying to verify it. If that is failing, then we will simply redirect it, right? Yeah, otherwise we are supplying this thing. So This is not required. Okay. Okay, so we check whether this refresh token is available or not. Then let's see where this will come, because we also need the data for, right. So we will need the data for it to have the refresh token as well. So now here we will have our u dot refresh token as a refresh token. Let's call it this. Okay, one thing. These are column names. So if the column name contains underscore, you have to write it. This is a DB column name. And this is how we are actually trying to make it to be. So whatever the value is coming there, I want it to be in this particular variable, which I will be getting. Hope that makes sense. So in this DB data itself, we have all these things apart from this as well. So we will just be combining these things like so. Then we can remove this thing. The where condition should be where the refresh token is like this. All right. So when I am passing the where clause as refresh token, understand this by default becomes whatever the from table is. Otherwise, you can also be explicit in it like u dot something. So now I can just remove this whole thing, paste it here, remove this whole thing, make it a part of here, and make this, remove the 2, and now everything should be good enough. This should be just this, and this decoded payload should now be like this. I can now remove this. This will be, yeah, user ID. This will be username. This will be user email. This will be role name. This will be permissions assigned role. Okay, now I will just copy this, paste it here as well. And like always, we will remove this thing from here. And then this will be my user email as a string. So now we will, whatever the refresh token is, I'm just updating it there. Cool. So now this session is also updated. The file is also updated right here. So let's go and check. Any chat is not there. Okay, no issue. Let's refresh it. And it works. Cool. Now let's go and check this access token, see whether it is even there or not. Okay, I still, okay, just remove this for now. Okay, let's log out, log in again. Okay, let's check this out, because we should be having those two values here. It's not here. Let's debug it. So what I'll do is I'll go to my action. I try to log in, right? So this is my sign up action. There is my sign in action. And here I'll just do one thing. I'll console log this user. And let's see what is the entire thing here. Okay, let's log out. Some query is missing for sure. Yep. So even though it says there's some issue, but I can have this access, right? So let's see, syntax error near or R in dashboard. Okay, what is the syntax error near R? So this is my name. So I'm grouping it by this. This is my role permissions, which is RP, where there's a P as well, which is permission on rp.permission ID, role ID. Let's check our database just in case. So we have role underscore ID, role underscore ID, which is linked with roles ID. So our ID, which is roles, which is then left joining this with roles permission, where we have ID, and this is my role ID and permission underscore ID, permission underscore ID. Fair enough. Roles permission. Then we have permissions as well, which has RP, which is role permission, and permission ID is there. I'm pasting it here, and we are getting the P name there. There's r.name, role name. What is the error again? I mean, we still get this thing. We are getting this fine. What is the error? So near R, scan y, scan something error. We'll see, but let's see what is happening when I'm talking it here. So it is a role name which is given. Then there's a role permissions. Each role is also. Oh, okay, that is the issue. Okay, so one is I have to make sure this is this. It cannot, even though I'm making it like this. So let's make it as this. Let's make it as this. Then this should now conform to this, hopefully. Let's go back, log out, login. Again, the same errors are happening. Okay, now it will be a different error itself. So what I'll do is I'll just make it as assigned to each role. Assigned to each role. E. If only I can spell. I'll remove this. Remove this. So let's make it like so. And copy this whole thing. Let's make it like so. Same with the session here. Pretty sure it will be bad here as well. Okay. Like this. And here, everything is small letters. That's what I'm doing. So make it small, which is weird, but here we are. Okay. Let's go to the bottom. Here we are. Sign in. We logged in just fine. We now have these. Let's go and check my access. This is big, so I'm pretty sure it's available now here. Yep, now we have it, right? So in the front end, what I will do is now that I have this permission, right, based on that particular role, what I'll do is I will have inside this constant, let's say a file called permissions.ts, and this will export all those permissions that we talked about. So let's say we are only implementing this, so admin dashboard access, right? And technically what you can do is you can have permissions, it can have admin dashboard access, or you can have, you know, same, doesn't matter, it's all of them are same. It depends. So the key thing that I want you guys to take it from here is there's a goal for the project, which is implement the role-based access protocol or control system, and then there's an implementation part, and there's a functional part. What I'm explaining here is a functional part. The implementation can differ from person to person, right? If you're trying to learn the implementation from somebody, right, make sure you do not follow, even now, right here, you do not follow the implementation part of it. Understand the concept behind it, what is being done, why is it being done. The how part is something that you have to experiment with your own self, get into the problem, because whatever I'm doing right here will have scalability issues in the future. So, but I'm just explaining the what and why. Makes sense? Hopefully it does. So that's what you should be focusing on. How is always going to be your side of the things or your team side of the things. You guys have to, you know, decide from people to people skill on that part. Okay. And when I say how, I mean, let me just show you what I mean. So let's say this is my dashboard access permission, and this will be dashboard access, right? Let's also say that's one way of defining the permission. Another way is I don't want, I have the permission file itself. Why can't I simply define it like this? Because it's anyways being categorized, right? So why can't I have it like this, right? Now you can have a debate about it. So it's not right or wrong, it's based on the experience, and people who have worked before, they will say this is much better because I know when I'm using a constant here that this is coming from a permission constant. Just like I know for a fact when I'm using the roles here or role here, it is coming from, when I'm using the customer here, it is a role part, because I can see, okay, role dot customer, things like that. Okay, nothing else. So it's how, it's always debatable. Yes, there are some better practices, but that's something that you learn through experience, and don't take the practices part from it. That's what I want to explain here, right? So what and why is the main focus for this particular thing. Okay, now that I have the permissions with me, what can I do? Well, let's say I want to access as a so-called person of customer, as a customer, I want to access the admin page. So this is my admin page, right? Const export, let's say default function admin page, return, let's have a section. This is an admin. What am I doing in the dashboard? Yes, this, let's call it like so. Okay, this is my admin dashboard page, private admin route. Makes sense? Hopefully it does. Now, when I go here, right, I can go here. Okay, I can go here through admin here, and I will see here it is admin dashboard private admin route, right? Now, since I am a customer, I should not be allowed this page. Like I should not be allowed to access this page, right? Now, what we can do is we can do it here by making this an async page, or we can do it in the middleware itself. So if I go here, there's a dashboard. Let's also add the admin dashboard. So let's go to routes. Let's copy this. Let's call it admin dashboard. Let's call it as just admin. Here I'll say admin dashboard. These two are my protected routes, right? Now, when I am logged in, this is not enough because technically I can just come here. Okay, so this is not enough. Now, at this point, if it's a protected page and I'm not logged in, then it is here. That's fine. But I should not be allowed here first. I should also check if I'm not logged in, right? And role name, right, equal that role that we had, right? So let's say here in the permissions, we have this permissions. Let's also have this action, this role. Let's cut it in the permission itself. Let's add it here only, right? And we will just make sure this is coming from permission, right? Okay, we will have whether this role equal let's put it this way. So if I'm logged in, I have to check a bunch of things. One, if the URL is admin, do I have admin role or not? Right, that's one. And technically speaking, maybe I should only be checking, do I have the permission or not? Right, because the backend will take care of that query, which is grouping the role by that permission. So I should only be checking that. But let's also say, do I have the admin role or not? That's one. And then, do I have the required permission or not? Okay, that's it. If yes, then I am allowed in the admin page. Otherwise, redirect to admin login. Now, since I tried to access the admin page, I should be redirected to admin login, right? So that's the criteria. Or I should be simply, show some message, something like that, or redirect to admin login so that person can actually log in from there, right? So now also let's go to my admin. Let's also create one simple page, which is login, and we will have page here. There will be no sign up form for admin because admin is something that is created as a seeder formation, right, for the most apps, and there will be very low super admins kind of things. Now, of course, if you're building some sort of like a multi-tenant scenario where you have tenant level admins, then that's a different thing. I'm not talking about that. Okay, now I will go to my sign up. I will just copy this page again, go here, make it like this. Let's call it as admin login. Let's call it as admin sign in page. And here I'll just copy the whole thing. Come here. Of course, you can have a separate, shared form if you will, but let's put it like this. The action, I will have it inside the admin. Let's have an action, actions.ts. This will be use server, right? Use server. This is fine. This is coming up. Now here in the actions itself, I can just remove this and just copy this thing, sign up thing. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll just go here in the admin action. I'll just copy this like so. I have my VS Code set up like the moment I save, everything is imported by default. So there's that. And then I will have this as Argon 2. Let's see where that is coming from. Okay, Argon 2. Okay, here it is coming from. So it's not able to pick that part up. Fair enough. So I'll just copy this as well. right? Now the Jose is not also being picked up. Let's import that as well. Okay, so that's my admin login. It's the same thing, nothing else. The only different will be um yeah, so I will have a new database that I can create from, because we cannot have the sign up form for admin for sheer reason that then anybody can actually become an admin. We need to have simple login form, and the admin user will exist from the seeding phase itself, not from from the front end. Okay, cool. So now I will go to my um, DB Superbase. I'll create a new user. Let's call this user as admin. Email is admin@example.com. Password is like whatever, null for now, right? Password, it's not actually required either. We'll see what the password can be. Refresh token is required, not required. Role ID is basically my admin, right? Now I will simply have save. Okay, user password. So let's have some text for now. Let's have it as password for now, right? Save. Fair enough. Now, of course, while you're seeding, it will be some sort of like crazy password, right? Which will be seeded through that phase itself. So now what I'll do is I'll just copy this thing and I'll make this as the password itself, right? And hopefully this is refreshed. Cool. So whatever the coding testing password is, it's the password here. So basically we are doing the same password mechanism. And now we can actually log in as an admin, because our role here is this, right? And the refresh token will be generated when we try to log in. It will be there. Okay, so now we will go to our let's go back first. The reason why we created this form was because we have this form, and this is our action, this is our message, this is our sign in action. Fair enough, this is our message. All right, so I can just remove this. Let's say sign in. This is my action. And here I can just remove this, call it as form, and this is my form. Fair enough. So now this is basically my so-called this I don't need it, because I should always have a admin login. I should always have an account there. We are not allowing any sort of like account creation anymore. So now when I am logged in, right, let's check whether the URL is admin or not. So how should we check that? Well, this is a protected route, right? Let's also have another route which is called admin route. And here I can have dashboard. Now, whatever the thing is coming here, which we had here, right, is protected routes. After we are logged in, let's say is admin route, right? Now, is admin route can be is business route, is paid customer route, things like that. Again, not how, but what, why we should be focusing on right now, because this is too little of a tutorial to go there. Then here it will be admin routes. So now if the admin route contains a current path, then it's definitely an admin route, right? And I mean protected admin route. So that's one. So let's say protected admin route. Makes sense? Cool. If that is the case, now I have to check whether I have the role permission or not. Okay. So by this time, right, by this time, I will already have a new access token, right? So now I will say access token equals, hopefully by this time it's clear. We are saying, give me the access token, access cookie key. Yep. Right. Give me that. Okay. Now, one issue that will happen at this point is that for some reason, middleware of, this middleware does not have access to cookie when you have some sort of like a redirection happening. So let's say there's an email and there's a link. You click on it, there's no access there. That's some issue that I'm running into. So I'm just explaining it right here. Let me just check whether it's working or not. Okay, it's working. Cool. So basically, if I have a email link, for some reason, it is not able to get it. But when you click on that, when you try to put the URL there and then you could try to enter, then it is possible to get it, right? So that's what I'm saying. So we will get the access token, right? This is what we are doing, verify session. We have this here as well. So let's also just get the access token from here only. Okay, no, because we are setting it here. So it should be again. Yeah, it should be, we will have to do it, get it again, because you never know whether that particular thing ran or not. So if that ran, then it should be the new access token. Makes sense. Hopefully it does. So now we will again do that decoded and things like that. So let's go to session page. We have this as the decoded. So let's do this. Decode this information. This is my access token. Okay. Let's import this because Jose actually, this middleware runs on Edge for the most part. So Jose will work here as well, if I'm correct. This is my access token. I will also have, if access token is not here, right? That's one. Then I will simply return this person to login. Okay. Same here as well. If is protected admin route, right? We will have to do something else. So let's first do this, right? This is the first thing. Then we will do like decode access token, blah, blah, blah. Then we will say this. And finally, here we only need the role name and the permission because we know the user ID will be the same. Now we will simply have to check if the role name equal role.admin, that's one, and permissions this equal, let's say permissions, no, this will be, yeah, for now, because we only have one permission, we can do it, but this will fail actually. So let's say admin dashboard access, because this could be a string with comma separated values as well. I'm pretty sure something like that will change, but in our setup, this is enough. So again, another lesson, always write the code in a manner which just works bare minimum to the particular requirement you have in your system right now. That should be your goal, and make notes somewhere in case the requirement change, so you can pinpoint the place where that requirement will be, have to be modified. Or there's another approach, you do some sort of like an imagination, okay, this can happen in the future, this can happen in the future, and then you can go about doing things. But that thing should only come when you have an idea where the product is going, right? Not before. So I'll just do it and then let's see whether it fails or not. So if this is the case, right, is not this, and this is not this, so it will now become OR. So this is Boolean logic. True and true. If you negate it, becomes false or false. Okay. So if this is the case, so if my particular role name in my access token is not the admin role name, and I am and this is like not this, right? And so this is like or scenario, so either or. And at this point I will also be having, if I am trying to access the admin route and my role name is not that, or my role name is not or my permission is not that, but I am trying to access the things, right? Then I will simply be having a redirection again to login. That's about it. Let's go. Let's refresh. And I am back to login, right? Now I can try and going that way, but it will not work unless I am logged into the admin account. And so let's just try to do it. Let's say here, I go to my dashboard, which I should be able to. Okay, I am completely logged out or what? Let's see. Application. Okay, I am completely logged out. Fair enough. So I will log in because it's a 15-minute thing. Okay, so I come to this page. I can access the dashboard. I can go to dashboard. It is in my dashboard itself. Now, if I try to do the admin part, I am not allowed to. So now if I go back, go to my dashboard, again, access will be available, but not that, right? So now let's go to admin/login. Of course, we are not redirecting to admin login because don't want that to be the case. But let's say I'm here. Now, if I just simply say this is admin@example.com, let's see whether that's the case. Yeah, admin@example.com, and the password is same as that code one. So if I sign in now, yeah, let's save it, right? It sends me to this page, but technically where it should send me is in the admin login. It should send me to admin page right here, let's say. So now if I try to go here, I should be able to access it. Let's see. Okay, it actually restarted. So admin login, sign in. Okay, let's check why that is happening. So some sort of like database superbase issues. Yeah. Okay, so in the admin login, am I doing some sort of like, this is my role name and this is my, yeah, see, that's why it is failing. So thankfully we already have that equal thing. Cool. So this is my role based permission, right? Which is comma separated. If I go to my middleware, I'm trying to say equal, and this is not equal, whatever this permission is. Where is the permission? Here's the permission, right? Okay. So our role has all, like our admin has all these permissions. So let's see how we can actually fix it. I mean, just to make you understand that if I remove this, right, and I go here and I try to access the admin. Okay, why it is not aligned it right now? Let's see. At least that should work. So if it's a protected admin route, okay, let's debug it. If it's a protected admin route and what is my role name is not equal role dot admin. All right, what I'm even doing. So it's not this. So it will be const role name. It will be admin. That will be admin. And then it will be customer, which will be customer. And then here it will be role name instead of that, and it will be role name, and this will be role matched. Let's go, right? This, cool. Now this should work. If I try to go inside the admin, I am back here, right? Because now my role actually matches true and true. I mean, role match is false, and therefore we are doing, I mean, this. If it is not equal, then it becomes false. Therefore, this becomes false. Therefore, this is allowed. Now, here I have to now add the permission as well, right? Okay. So, see, here's the thing. The permission is not overarching. So for example, the reason why you have permissions is so that you can allow a particular role to perform particular post, delete, update, and things like that, operations basically, right? The what I'm saying, the dashboard access or the read thing is something that is role dependent for the most part. So what we have to do here in the permission is that this is my dashboard access, right? So this, rather than having something like this, can also be some sort of like array as well, but I want that array to be created through here, right? So let's do this. Here in my this thing, I know for a fact that the value of my so-called permissions, right? So I will have an object dot values that is from my permissions, right? That value, if it includes whatever the permissions of this role is, right, it will be as, let's say, string, then this should be enough, right? So basically, if it includes this, not. So whatever it is, true and false, it should be not, because here it is true and we are saying either of them has to be true. Because if it becomes false, then and will fail. So if the role name is not equal role name dot admin, right? Then let's say my role name is admin and it is not equal to role name of whatever the admin is, right? Then this will become false, right? Because admin is not equal admin. That's not true. That's false. And therefore it will log in, go to here. Let's also assume this is the case that my role name is admin. So this becomes true. So there's a true. So how to put it? I hope I shouldn't be the one. No. Like this is a Boolean logic, but I think this is something that most people will just fail, or maybe I'm just wrong. So let's say this is my thing, right? So what I'm saying is, if I'm accessing the admin dashboard, then this is true. Let me drink water. Okay. If I'm trying to access the admin protected route, it will be true, right? Now, the only thing is, what is the evaluation of this? If this becomes false, right, then this whole operation will become false, which will make this not run, right? If this becomes true, then this will remain true and this will run. So basically I'm saying if I'm trying to access the protected route, and therefore I will need the make sure that my role name is equals to admin and whatever the permission is available. So that means this should be false and this should be false, because I'm trying to negate it. I'm not saying equal this. So I'm saying if I'm trying to access the protected route and my role name is not equal to admin and the permissions does not include whatever the permission is, does not include right here, right? Then therefore I'm just a fraud. So I should not be allowed here. So now if I go here, let's log in and here we are, right? Okay, let me just check what this is all about. Should be able to do this. Permissions. Okay, let's try going here. Okay, it says permission is false. All right, so this is my values. Let me just mark it as like this. Let's go here. Again, this is a part and parcel of debugging. That's why I like to do live, because I want to make sure that people can see that this is how it actually happens. So now this is my so-called permission. And what is that is coming? The coming part is this part, right? Cool. All right. So it's kind of like I'm trying to have an array, and I'm trying to see whether the incoming string has this, includes this. And when I'm trying to say includes, it's for some reason is going to fail, because now it is going to check whether this equals this whole thing. I mean, this is present here, rather than checking this and this and this. Okay, so let's go with here. Let's see what it actually gives. So I will say I have permission. Okay, let's say there's a permission, right? This is one, and let's say there's another one which is permissions blah blah blah. So we go here. Cool. So this will be like so, right? So again, make sure you understand how to use ChatGPT. It's good, or Cursor AI or something like that, right? So this is also going to be a part and parcel of making, just figure it out. Like, try to take this skill up at how you're going to ask the question, and then see, because you have to make sure that you understand this thing. For example, there's no way I can have, like, you can just copy paste it. It will work for the most time, but you must understand what is happening here, right? If you are a good engineer, you will have to understand. You are just shortening the time that is required to come up with certain logic. But if it is available to you, you at least understand what you are going to do. Like, you need to have an idea of what problem you're trying to solve and what is the solution of it. That's why you will not the process. I mean, not the coding part. So the coding part you're trying to delegate to this ChatGPT, which you don't want to waste time on once you understand what you want to, right? Okay, so here's what I want to do. I have two variables. One is the permission array, and one is the incoming thing. I want to know if the individual comma separated permission string separated value exists in permission array, right? That's what I want to know. I want to know simple thing, whether my permission table, right, whatever this is, so whether my permission assigned to each role, this is present in my permission table or not, right? That's what I'm trying to do. So let's see. Also, what we can do here in this permission table, I completely forgot. So you can also have something like this. This is what this will have, right? And then there will be, let's say, a customer. This is what the customer will have. Again, depends on you how you actually go about doing this whole thing. So yeah, for now I'll just, that's basically what you will do, because you have to make sure exactly what each of the so-called role actually has permission to. And to be honest, if I am more, like, if I'm not paranoid, I mean, to make it even simpler, I can have it like this. Here's my so-called admin permission. Here's my so-called customer permission. And then I can have, okay, this is my customer permission. This is my admin permission, like so. And then technically speaking, Now if I want to have whatever my permission of this is, admin, I can check the value, right? This is my key. So I can simply say not object, not this. I can have permissions dot admin. If that includes whatever the incoming thing is, then it should be enough, right? So let's also see what this is all about here. If I have admin, just to check, because I want to give proper easy thing to ChatGPT. So now this is my permission, like so, right? So here's what we have to do. This is not over, because let's say I have let's see, if I make this as just this, right, just remove the space, come here, it will again fail, right? Because now I have introduced no space, which is now different from here. Okay, so here I will make it like this. Make sense? Okay, I want to know if the individual I want to know if the values separated by comma in, right, comma in this, right, exist in permission string. Order and spaces between the commas don't matter, right? So that's what I want. Let's see what it gives. Yep, it will create a set. So what it is doing is it is creating a set out of the permission, splitting it, right, then mapping it with a trim. So each of them now has no space, so these are like different, and each of them, the set makes it clear that this is unique, right? So that means permission set is unique, assigned permission set is also going to be unique. Now all we are going to do is we are going to say all permission exist or not. That's what we are trying to figure it out, and for that we are going to spread it out, and then we'll, for every p or every permission, we are going to say whether this permission set contains or has p or not. If this is true for all the cases, then this will be true or false. Let's copy this thing. We will go to our so-called helper, right? And here let's just make sure that we have it like so. Okay. Sorry, sorry, this not like this. Let's make sure that we have is proper. What are we returning? Does all permissions exist? Right, now we will do this and make it like so, and here we will just simply return back this thing like this, and this will contain two things. One is permission and one is permission assigned to each role. Both of them are string, so that's what we are going to do, string. And this is our so-called does permission exist function, which we are going to call inside our middleware, and we can just remove this. Yeah, let's call it as permission to each role. Then we can call it as permission, which will be permissions dot admin. Let's call it this, and here it will be this. It will be this, and here we will pass our permission to each role. That's what the first thing is. Let's see what is the first thing. It's helper is permission. Okay, then we will pass basically permissions dot admin. That's what we are trying to do. And this is unknown. No, it will be string. Okay. And we can just copy this. We can make it like a new variable. Like this. We can make it above this. And here we can just remove this with this. And if this does not exist, that's what we're saying, then we are going to say you are not allowed. Okay, let's go back. Let's go here. So okay, the refresh token is now done and dusted. So now I will come here. I will be locked, removed out, right? Good. Now I will try to say sign in. Oh, sorry. It will be admin dashboard. So remove it. Go to admin login. Right now I can just say sign in. And here we are, right? And if I just go here, it says it's everything exists, right? Even though there's a no space here, right? So that's our entire thing. One thing that you might have seen is that when I tried to log in through my so if I just go back, go to my dashboard, and here I try to log out, you will find that if I try to log in here with the same admin, I'm still allowed to log in. But this time I will not be able to access the admin because, okay, let me check why that is the case. It shouldn't be possible. So let's go and, check this thing out. Oh, you're right. Of course it will be possible. It's what I'm even doing. Okay. Because technically speaking, the role is that. So now what we have to do is somehow we make sure. Yeah, it depends. So at this point, it depends whether you want to allow the admin login to happen from the normal login, because that information is stored in your database. So if the role is not, if the role ID in the database is not say 4 or whichever it is, then yeah, it won't be login, right? And since we are actually just doing the login part, right? Let's say this is just a login action right here. So it's just a login action. So we don't even require this whole shenanigans. So we can completely remove this login thing if we want, and we can use whatever the normal login is because our information is stored there in our DB. Cool. So I hope this much is clear. Let me know in the comments if I have missed anything, but a quick revision to everything about the role-based access control. It's a very simple, I have done a simple explanation for this entire thing. So I'll just refresh it, right? Okay, cool. So what is a role-based access control? It's an auth mechanism, authorization mechanism, in which you assign during the sign up or the registration a default role of some throughout your app, a default role to your sign up or registered user or login user, so that, and you also assign a bunch of permission that is a part of that particular role to that particular user in their access token or somehow somewhere, right? So that the front end can receive that and utilize it in their UI URL blocking, or any call they are making, they can actually utilize it there as well. Second, You also check in the backend every time there's a call that is coming, which we didn't cover, but that's something that you need to make sure that every time there's a call to any API point, you check whether that based on the API point, if it's an admin API point, you check the role of that. Whatever we did in that, does it permission exist? You do it there as well, because you cannot trust anything that is coming from the front end. Make sure that is the case. Sorry. So role-based access control, you have roles, you have bunch of roles. Based on those, all of those roles are assigned certain permissions, and based on that role and that permission only, you can perform an action. Hopefully that makes sense. Second, we also did a little bit of refactoring of our previous app, where we were allowing every single person to see every other individual's cards. Now we have restricted it to a user ID. Okay, so there's that. Then we looked into how the requirement gathering is done, let's say, where we are trying to make a bunch of requirements for a customer role, which can read their data dashboard, read their anime, fetch their anime characters, edit their anime characters, and those sort of things. And then admin who can do all of that, plus can do a bunch of additional things. We didn't implement all of that because that's a conceptual thing that I wanted you to see, but that's what it is all about, right? Then each of these roles contain a bunch of permissions. Admin control can have all the permissions depending on the requirement of your so-called app or product, whereas customer has limited number of permissions. Then we have to modify our database, which we did. What we did was we modified our user to have a role ID. Then we created a roles right here, right, with a bunch of roles. It can be even more. Then we created a permissions here with a bunch of permissions. Again, it can be more. Then we have another roles permission table, because this is a relationship database. So now we attached a role ID with the permission ID. And now these two in normal thing, it can be like, combined primary key or whatever you want to call it. Fair enough. These two in combination should be unique. It cannot be for this value and then the same thing. Okay, that's something that I didn't do on the database end, and that's something that actually is being done. Then we also did in the cards, we assign a user ID, so that every time there's a new user card is being created, we know which user ID is there. Okay. Then in our code, we modified a bunch of places, especially where we were creating the access token and the refresh token. During the sign up, we created a new query, and also we looked into how to take help from ChatGPT, because ChatGPT actually helps. Rather than looking into the syntax somewhere else, you can just ask it here. Second, you also learn that in order to make sure that ChatGPT gives you the ample enough, answer good enough, you should also need to make good question and should know what you're trying to ask, so that when the ChatGPT gives you the answer, you can figure it out immediately. Okay, this is good or not. Make sense? Hopefully it does. Then we were using this. We came up with a bunch of modifications, things like that, and we completed our entire app, where now our app works perfectly fine in terms of how we want it to work. Okay, hopefully everything is like fine. This is a role-based access thing, right? So then we will just check it out. One, we check that when I am logged in as an admin, I cannot see other users thing, though it is something that you can inbuilt in so-called permissions, and then that will be visible. You have to play with it, right? Hopefully that also makes sense. And yeah, then also let's go here. We also have introduced a regression issue, I think, where the refresh token is no longer working. So we can also check that why that is the case. So if I go to my middleware, if I am not logged in, then I'm refreshing the token. Okay, something might be happening. This is something that you guys can actually pick it up if you want. I will be uploading the entire thing on my GitHub thing, and let me know if there's something that you can fix here, right? So that's one. Also, the logout is working, the home page is working. This completes our, I hope this is a fourth part of it, and this kind of like completes the entire thing. What I'll do is few things. Before I like put this entire thing up in my production, what I want to do is restrict the entry to my database. So I have a bunch of entries. One is the number of users that it can have, otherwise it will be it will be bad. So let's see whether I can. By the way, the tutorial is over for this role-based access. So if you want to leave, you can leave. But what I'm going to do now is trying to see if I can restrict this part or not. Stop Superbase Superbase table entries after certain number of records, right? I want to see whether Superbase has this inbuilt or not. I guess not. Okay, so I think I should make certain things and we'll see whether that works or not. So what I will do is I will have in my app, in my auth action, okay, one thing that I'll have at this point here itself is I won't be doing any sort of like this thing. I will have one limiter that will be db limiter. It will say await client dot SQL. Let's put it right here. Okay, await client dot this, and I want to simply select count of from users. That's it. Okay, this is because I'm trying to enter into sign up action, so I want to select this part and then I will look for the count part of it. Let's say I am pretty sure I'm using the count somewhere in the total what is that, helper. Here I'm using the count pretty sure somewhere. Here we are. So here we go. Let's put it like this. So it will be delimiter like this, and then it will be count. I will only need this number. And what I want to do here is total allowed users like this. And if total allowed users is greater than 10, then I'll simply want to just throw an error, because this is just I don't want it to be spammed completely. So a little bit of error will be available, which will be, let's say, database error, user limit reached in this public DB. So that's one. Here also I should be having, yeah, maybe it should be error as any dot message or like this. And for now I don't want this TypeScript, so I'll just add ignore. Okay, so that's one. Then this is a sign up where the user is being created. Login is not the part where it will be available at all. So that can be, let it be. Don't need it. We can also remove this user console. Let's also remove all sort of console logs. Sorry. Here we go. This we also have to let go. Registration success is fine. This we can let go. Okay. So in our so-called action, there's only sign in and sign up. So sign up, we have this limit, db limiter, and this is it. So let's test it out with only 3 first, because okay, 2 first. We should not be allowed to sign up at all because we already have 2 users. Okay, we have 3 users, but that's fine. Let's go to our registration. Let's fill it out, sign up. Okay, in the form itself, sorry. Okay, something messed up, so that didn't happen. Where it is, let's do it again. I want to see what happened in the network tab itself. So it says false. It is database error, reached limit in the public. Why it is not showing here? That's let's see why it is not showing here. In the auth, in the sign up, in the form, I have this pretty much cleared out. There's a message there. Well, that's weird. Where is it anyways? At the very bottom of the form. Is it here? Yeah, it's right here. So it is available, but for some reason, okay, opacity is like fair enough. I think I have to, like refresh. Let's check this out. It's not here. Okay, give it up. Let's see. I need that error message so that people understand what is happening. Cool. So now it's here. That's good. Now if I try to log in, I can actually log in. There's no issue there. So let's go there. Try to log in. Another thing that we are actually creating here is from the front end is just cards. So cards I will restrict with, say, 10 users can have here. Let me just make it 10 users. So 10 users can have, let's say each of them can have 50 cards. Yeah. So I will just make that adjustment there as well. So in my dashboard, in my actions, again here, everything is fine. Everything is fine. I don't care. Here. Cool. So now I will have to make another delimiter. So I'll just make it like this, paste it here, count from cards, and here I can say total allowed cards, user cards limit reach in this public DB. I think this should be enough. I mean, if it happens, I'll just completely, end the entire thing. No issue there. So there's that. Also, I am doing the revalidate of the path. Let's see. Only here I'm doing it. So let's make it as dashboard, which is a constant. Am I doing any sort of redirection? Okay, redirect. Here we are doing the redirects. Let's make it as admin dashboard. Here we are doing it. Let's make it as dashboard. Same here, make it as dashboard. And this should be enough. I think this is enough for me to, like push it. But before that, I will have to go to my Vercel, go to my settings, go to my environments, and here, like start assigning things up. Environment variables. Cool. Okay, that's what I'll do right now. So I'll just remove this completely. I'll just do that. Okay, here we go. Copy pasta, the entire env file. Click on this add environment variable. If enable, and your team will not be able to read the values after creation. Okay, yeah. Okay. Paste it like so. Yeah, make everything here. Frontend app URL, we will make it what is our frontend app URL. Here we are. So I'll just paste it like this and I'll save it. Okay, back display. Okay, here's what I did. I added all my environments. Okay, let me just remove it, close my env file. Now I'll just do it back. Okay, I added all my environments like here. Hopefully that makes sense. So now I can push it to my GitHub and it should work. So in the GitHub, I have, okay. Also one thing, in case people didn't know, I created this thing like 2 years back. What? 2 years back? Let me just check. I created one thing. Okay. Let me just go here. Go here. Here I can see the live. So I did one live right here. Let me just open it. When was it? 1 year back. Yeah. Yeah, 1 year back. So I did something here, right? 1 year back, something like that. Is there any chat or what? I'll see the notification later then if there's no chat. Okay. So that's something that I'm also planning to continue. It's something that is like set up and then we didn't do anything. It's kind of like our entire clone. We set up these things and then it just went, because of my health and my other commitments, it just went back. Cool. I think I'll also do it. It's kind of like a Twitter clone, things like that. Okay, here we go. So now we have our next crash course. Let's go here. Let's remove all this. Pretty sure it will not work for the most part, but let's see. Technically, all of this is here. No env file is actually being committed. Hopefully not. Git ignore. Yep. So now one thing that I'll do is, commit. Okay, I am also creating one more project. That's what this commit is all about. We'll show you after this initial commit. So completed the RBAC for next RBAC and Next.js 15 crash course concepts for now. Okay, we'll do that. So now I should also be able to say update interactive. Want to see how far we have come. Okay, let's just update all of them. Okay, updated packages to latest, because this is our dummy project, so don't care much. You don't do it in production ready apps for the most part, otherwise chances are very fatal. I am building it in my local just to see whether it will fail or not during the deployment. I don't want any, like I push it, then it's some sort of like an issue and then things go bad. Also, this is just a Next.js course. It is not in any way what you do in production ready application. If you want to know what you do in production ready application, provided that you are willing to use the third party applications, by all means, first go and, how to put it, you can have YouTube. You can go to my channel right here and you can just go live. And you can go and look into this tutorial, right? This, and by the way, these two tutorials is for Redux toolkit, which I did last year, and this is absolutely good tutorial. This is how you should be doing the Redux toolkit, so you can watch these two as well. What I'll do is I'll also, maybe I'll edit it out, but no, this is a tutorial, right, which is production ready application build up. It doesn't do anything, right? It's just setup part. For the next 6 hours you're just setting things up for the production. It's not doing any build, it's just setting things up so that you know exactly what you're doing. So you will have Redis cache, you will have a bunch of other things, right, which you need in the production. Of course, it is trying to use a bunch of different third-party tools, and some of them are no longer free, like Planet Scale. So that's why I'm trying to update it. I'm planning to update it. Okay, makes sense. All right, so let's just GPS main or master for this particular thing. Now that it is in master, it should start. Yep, deployment should start. Let's see. Hopefully nothing fails here. Okay. Everything is fine, I guess. In the stream lag, there's no lagging. Everything is fine, I guess. So it's working. And what I'll do is I'll just, delete the users. And if I'm right, all the cards will be deleted along with them. Okay, it didn't. Maybe it should, right? Cool. Okay, let's delete it. Permission is there, customer is there, this is there, which is fine. Okay, this is done. Now let's go and check. This is our app. If I try to go here, see there it is quite fast, right? So the moment I try to go here, it is now login because I'm not logged in. So now I will try to do user, and I'll try to say, let's say whatever my password was. So let's see. Let's try to do admin example, and let's have this particular password again, because why not? It has a bunch of requirements. So sign in. cannot create new user because it's trying. That's a wrong error, but it's basically you are not logged in, right? You don't have that particular user. So now I can have, say, admin. Now it will create a user. So let's call it like user one. It will be user @example.com. This is fine. The same password. I'll just say the same password. It's not like you can do much. Sign up. Okay, reading email. Fair enough. Let's see. Do we have it here? If there's any issue, I'll just, yeah, it's already here. So I'm not able to do the refresh token. See, that's the entire issue. For some reason, I'm not able to do it. Okay, let's see. Sign up, auth. Auth sign up action. It says I'm not able to read the email. And when we checked, there was an email. Okay, this. Okay. Okay. This works in localhost, right? Let me just check. So I'll just delete this thing. Can't even finish one project. Let's go here. Okay, it will try to create a new one. No, right. So now it is basically, okay, let's see. JJ. Okay, it's able to create things because it is getting the user ID from there. Yeah, there are problems here for sure. Yeah, let's see. Let's go. If I go to cards, it is able to do it because it is creating this user ID. All right. I think so these are the issues that happen the moment you go to production. So I am trying to create it. I am getting the, oh, right. Of course, I'm trying to get the ID from this access token, and that access token existed. Therefore, it is able to do it. Of course, not production ready, but you understand what is happening here. Hopefully, you get the gist. We have a bunch of things that we need to do in terms of, we have to check whether this particular ID even exists in our database before we insert it. So after we get this ID, we might need to, call another access database just to check whether this exists or not. So let's see. User date db data await client.sql select, let's say, count. The reason why I'm doing count is, okay, let's go with ID from users where ID equals ID as string. Now, if that is the case, then we will have this will be db data user equals db data dot rows 1. Then here it will be insert into this. Now I want whatever the name is, whatever this is, and here I want the ID of user. Right, this is what I want. Hopefully this will be much better because now I have a check. It says if that is not, then that. So what I'll do is go inside here. I will say in the application itself, I don't have that refresh token. So I'll just create add new access token. the value, I'll make it the same as this one. Then I'll just refresh. Okay, it's trying to do that. So what we can do is here. Let's see if it's an application here. Okay, we don't have anything. We don't have this as well, right? Yeah. So just to check this out, what I'll do is I will go to helper and I'm trying to get that permission right here. So what I'll do, I'll just make this like so and just return true for now. Go here. Okay, at least I'm here. So now technically I should not be able to create anything because there's no user within my user table. So if I say J cannot create a new card, that's fine. So at least that part is fixed. I have this, like, I don't like, even in this demo app, I am not liking the things that I'm missing, but fair enough, I have to be able to do that. Then if I go to say logout, right, so at least I'm not here. One thing that I also should be seeing, if it depends, like if I'm not allowed to do, there can be a ticket issue that can come up if there's no, yeah, maybe this situation will never arise in the production at all, because user's ID is not erased in production database like I did. Okay, so if I try to log in now, it will be giving me data cannot create a new user. So let's also like fix that part. So I will make it like this first. Here in the sign up, that is good. That's fine. But here in the sign in, cannot log in to user. That's because when I try to log in, that does not exist. So again, I can say error as any dot message, and this will be like so. Let's make it like this. Also add for now the quick fix of this. Let's go back, try it again. Cannot read property of undefined password, which is fine. So where are we going with the password? Yeah, somewhere here it will fail because it will not have this will not contain the password, and therefore it will fail. So let's just make it like this. I mean, you don't have, you can, provide better error messages. That's up to you. So if I try it, it will fail. Okay, yes, thank you. Okay, so that's better. Now if I try to register, it should allow me to register as a user. There was some issue that happened during the registration process as well. Let's see. Sign up. Cannot read property of reading email. Okay, so want to see where that reading email came from. That sign up happened here. So pretty sure this is the issue. So if I say user like so, go back, come here, refresh. Okay, delete. Now just go and here it will be admin. Where's the form? Form is here. I will have this password like so. Update, we will get come on, something is up. Okay, something is going even wrong. Okay, here we are getting undefined email, but that shouldn't be the case. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just check why that is the case in this. I have the DB data. I'm trying to insert the user refresh, email refresh token, things like that. Maybe this is the issue. Uh, let's have it like this. Um, this worked, but I think there's also an issue in the superbase how the entire thing is like this thing, this whole thing. No idea what this is all about. Length, error. I'm not reading it, that's why. So near R, something is messed up in this R. Right, this is role name, this is role name, which is fine. Here. I also don't see anything in my, like, where is this R? Internal position somewhere. Okay, what is the table? Undefined and everything else defined. Something is happening. We'll see that was happening since the beginning when I started this stream. Okay. Anything here? No. Cool. So, of course, this will be added in terms of in the edited version. It will be available like in a better manner, I guess. In the form itself, we will have this as the. Let's go to network. Let's see what is happening there. If I sign up, zero length delimiter identified. Yep. So that's one of the things that was an error thing. It's a super base, so it can be null at least. I think it should be like this when I'm not passing anything. Maybe we'll check. Do it again. Like so. Okay. Yep. So issue is somewhere here only. Let's see how to, if I'm forgetting something, how to pass null value in SQL. insert. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. So it should be null only because I want it to be null. That's one. Uh, and is that nullable? Though it's a text, it is nullable. That's good. And it is creating the users just fine. There's no issue there. So that is not an issue. Uh, okay, let's see. If I'm using Vercel Postgres insert SQL client, blah blah blah, Vercel Postgres. Okay, where's the insert? Okay, you're doing it just fine. Put a new post into the database. What does it return though? Uh, wow. So they didn't even have. Hmm. Okay, no issue. So I do have this database. So let me just print it here, and I'll first return everything so that nothing actually happens. So this is my part debugging way of doing things. Let's say. So I have this some God knows what is happening here. For now, I am not even worried about it. I'm just worried about this part where I want this to be showing me some data. Okay, so it returns no user, but we need that particular user. So after I return it, I was under the impression that it will return this thing. So let's see. I am saying insert into, yeah, it won't. So I guess what I have to do is after I return it, I will have to assume that email with this will exist now. So I will have to say db data equals await client.sql, where I will have to select these things from users, where email is email. And then it should work, because I am getting the user from here. Here I am trying to say email. I mean, it depends, but once I have inserted, I want to use that email rather than using whatever the email is coming. But since it's a user's email, so it will be possible to do that as well. So I'll just insert that into here. I can remove this part completely, and I can assume this email will exist. But that's basically insert into user. I'm inserting whatever the users. Yeah. So I can do this because I can trust whatever the email is coming, like so. And then it will simply just work. So it will have this. I'll delete it. I introduced a bug today only then. this was the entire thing. It was working just fine till yesterday. I mean, till our last stream, even here today. But then I went ahead and introduced a bug. Yeah, now it will work. That's cool. Hopefully it does. Now if I try to go to my so-called admin, I'm back to this. And if I try to do the admin login, I'm not, it's not here. And then I can go to my page, go to my dashboard. It will work. I can then basically I can add few things. So let's say AA. I can also have B, right? Also, let's also do one thing. Let's go to my so-called dashboard form. User cards here, character name, blah, blah, blah. Here we go, submit, creating new card, submit, anime. Here, let's also add one thing that it should be autofocus. There we go. So C. So it's D. It's E. So it should be like 10 of them I'm allowing to create. EF, G, H, that's 8, I, 9, J, 10, K. This should give error. Okay, it created it. Maybe now it will give error because it is greater than 10. So from 0 onwards, I might have calculated. LL. Yes, cool. So that's what it's doing. So every user will have approximately what? 11 entries. So now that is also working. Remove it. Once I remove it, I can also remove it from here, right? And then I can go back. I can refresh and I can try to create another entry. It will create it. Yep, it won't, because now I have put that check whether that user should exist based on that access token. Cool. Now it is finalized, hopefully. So I will say finalize the app basics. Master is, here we go, master. And we are good. So now it should deploy. Let's see. Here we go. I will edit these things out. We have 4 videos worth of editing work now. I'll see if I have time and I'll edit them out, create one video out of it, heavily edited video out of it, down to the concept, and simply just upload it in my video section. While this is being deployed, let me show you what I am building apart from this, because this is something that I am planning to do, which is everything which is latest. So it should be React compiler. It should be a bunch of other things. And it is going to be a big project. So it's going to be a to-doer app. It will have a bunch of cool things like pricing, contact, terms of use, privacy policy. This will be how the application is developed in my basically in production. That's what it will be all about. It will contain most of the pages. I am thinking of using some sort of like a GSAP or things like that, and we will do it live only. So everything that I will be able to do by that day, I will walk through each one of them, either do live coding of it again, or I will just explain it till that point, and then we will just move ahead, right? We'll see. Maybe I'll just stop and do it live only. But building things like that, actually, like detailed things like that, requires time. That's why if we do it live, it will be huge amount of time that will go. But yeah, we can do it live, no issue. Also, if you check one thing, the attention to detail, we don't have it right now. But here, if you check, the moment you are back to mobile, all your things are at your fingertips. This is UX, better UX. You can do it like so. We also have proper favicon. We also have proper metadata and things like that. That's everything that we are going to be doing. Proper error handling and things like that. Cool. Let's check. This is live. So I try to go to my dashboard, not available. Try it. It will show me proper error message. Let's register. I will fill it out like this. Let's make it as this sign up. This will sign me up as a user, which will load my page. So now I will be here. This is, I am with the proper refresh token and everything, with a proper role ID, which is what it is. Now, how do you insert an admin user? User simply insert it from the database itself. So you can say admin user, you can have admin URL, right? example.com. Then you can have some password. The moment the admin logs in, you can have that password which we have. Then refresh token will be null, and this will be role ID will be admin, right? Let's save it. Here we can have this password. Let's say for now we can have this password, same password. Then we can have, say, Goku, Dragon Ball. The moment this is created, then this will become active. Hopefully that is the case. You understood it. Now, if I go to my, here, I'll go to, this is my Cognito. Go here. Let's try to log in. Now I will be admin mode. I should go to here, right? We can also go to admin. Here I am able to do that, whereas here I am not able to do that. That's a role-based access. That's a user-based division of data, and that's it. So I'll edit it out, put a good video, hopefully in the channel. So subscribe to it, and next time it will be to do our app, or maybe Chirpy, depends on what I like. I'm also planning to do some sort of like a Golang, because that's something that I am learning from boot dev. I mean, not learning is basically something that I am revising. I learned it last year. I had to build one project, so had to learn it, but I'm just revising because it was such a short project that wasn't able to delve deep into it, right? So I'm going to live stream this part, all the demo courses, something like that. I'll just do it, right? Okay, so 3 things. Look forward to it, and thank you for watching. See you next time, and make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already, because, well, if you value the content, please do. Thanks. Bye. Take care.